Hey, what's going on? It's Kevin, DJ K.Sity. For anybody who's jumping in, as promised, I'm going to be trying to help some people learn how to DJ, some students stuck at home. And it is Monday, so that means we're going to keep going with what we started almost 2 weeks ago. We'll be getting, just going to wait for a couple people to jump in. For any of the students or anybody at home that's joining us, let me know where you're from. Let me know a name.
Yo, let me back up for him. Let me back up, yo. Yo.
So if you're just jumping in now, it's 4:30. I don't know if now's a good time. I think the president still might be talking. But for those of you that are interested in DJing, any of the students that might be stuck at home, any moms and dads that are looking for something for the kids to do after their schoolwork, send them on over. We're going to try to teach some basic DJing to whomever may be bored at home or trying to find something to do for after schoolwork. So the last week, we pretty much were working with the Serato software. I told all the students about Serato Lite as an entry software you could use to start DJing, and you can even do that without without using a controller. So for example, on the screen, I'm going to be running back the Serato Lite Pro that we were learning on for the last week and a half, and just through the use of the mouse and some other things, I can use just the software, but we are going to use the controller as well.
Back up, yo.
And so that's why you see the controller. As I mentioned to people who stopped in before, the controller I'm using is a Pioneer Dj SB2. There's a ton of different flavors of DJ controllers, and if you need to learn more about those, I talked about that in the last video from last week. So please go out to the feed for the Spin Project, and you'll find that video that talks about the software, where to download it, the controllers if you plan to use one, how you can have a different one, but more than likely the technique that I'll show you on mine will be something you can transfer over to another unit. All right, so give me just a second. Hello to my viewers. I appreciate it. Hey, let me know what you guys have been doing. What have you guys been doing during this time of being stuck at home, besides schoolwork or anything else? Let me know. Sean, what's going on, man? I'm waiting for other people to jump in. I think I see a student jumping in now. I just was asking, what has everybody been doing? What have you been doing with the downtime? I know that many of us, well, for some of the kids or any of the students, you probably have schoolwork during the day. But what else are you doing besides the schoolwork? Hey, Rafa's in the house. Rafa is one of my younger students. Has the enthusiasm, I can see it, and he's going to do awesome. There's no question about it. He's going to be a great example to the other youngsters on how to do this, and that is possible. So, but let me know, what else have you guys been doing besides being bored at home? I've been working with puzzles. I've been challenging myself with that. I actually enjoy them very much so, but they take time, right? All right, just a couple more, just another minute or so. Let these other folks join us, getting their stuff all set up. So as I mentioned before, you'll be able to use either just the software or the controller, but I think you'll benefit mostly if you do have a DJ controller. So if you need more info on that, go back to my last video and go back onto the Spin Project feed, and you'll see the previous videos. Okay, so let's go forward. I'm going to hop over to the software. So if you have been with me for the last week, I'm going to take this microphone off of the mount. That way it doesn't sound like I'm fading in and out. If you've been with me for the last week and a half, I talked to you about the software. Most of you, if you were following those particular directions, you would be using Serato Lite, which is free, and maybe some other users who have equipment already might have Serato Pro. But I am going to teach in Serato Lite, and perhaps after these couple of weeks, when maybe some things will go back to normal, and potentially the students going back to school, I'll work on some pro videos. But for now, I want this to be conducive to all the people who are stuck at home. So I want that to be seen by some of the younger kids that are at home, all the way up to any adults that might be bored. So, all right. So here we go. I'm in Serato DJ Lite. At the moment, I'm going to find the lesson files, which I've posted on the website. Again, werethespinproject.com. You can get those instructions on there. But I'm going to load up the song on the left. So Rafa and any of the other students, let me pull up the sound, which is the Scratch Starter Kit. And we had talked about using this second sound here, which should sound like this. Okay, so I'm going to flip back over to the controller so you can see as I manipulate the controller jog wheel on the left, my sound is being produced. And then also don't forget, on our channel here, the channel fader, I had to bring that up, and I've left my crossfader here in the middle for now. So I'm just picking up where we left off. One of the things I want to point out is that a lot of the little things that I would teach in a class, in the classroom environment, group or private, there's always a lot of little things that we go over in more depth. I try to sort of consolidate the best information as we do this stuff online, but please understand there's a lot that goes into it, and we do skip through some things, but I just want to make sure that it's still fun for any of the younger students. So it kind of goes quick, and we bypass what others might think are very critical things, but I think that's the importance of class and being in a class environment with somebody. Okay, so again, we got the channel fader here. And bring that up, and if we press play, first put that left hand at 9 o'clock. So as we talked about the clocking system, at 9 o'clock is where we want that left hand, and then we're going to go ahead and press play. And you should be able to produce that sound right there, back and forth. So let me check with Rafa. Let me check with a couple of the other folks that are dialed in. How's that going? Are you guys able to get that working? Thumbs up from anyone. Oh, we got Alex. Alex, all right. So, hi, Ellen. So Alex is another one of my younger students, and doing an amazing job and just picking it up very well. And he's been with me probably one of the longest. So we're going to definitely get him to get us a little video or something, and then we'll share that on the Spin Project site. I think that would be really, really cool. So Alex, if you're listening, that's something we can talk about. All right. Rafa, everybody else, are you guys good? So Alex, I know you've kind of heard a little bit of the stuff that I'm doing right now, but you know how to challenge yourself with timing and making things faster, which I'm not going to go over too much today, but just a little bit, but not too much. Okay, so for good, once again, in your software, you should have your scratch sound loaded up on the left or the right side. I'm going to be on the left side, which means my left hand is going to be on the controller, and my right hand right now will just sort of be free-floating until we get to the next part. So let's go ahead and grab at 9. We're going to press play, and I want you to be able to go back and forth with the 4 count that we worked on last week. And these are what I call quarter notes. Quarter notes to 1 bar, 1 measure. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So for the students that picked that up last week, practice that right now without a beat. Just kind of go back and forth. Try to be consistent with each sound. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? For some of my students that have been with me for a while, you can try to speed that up a little bit. Like I said, I don't want to spend too much time on this, but we can go into eighth notes. So 1 E and I'm sorry, we're gonna go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. For anybody new, let's go back to the quarters. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. This is a fundamental technique, not only for what is the baby scratch, but also a great way to execute what will be the next song. As a DJ, we play multiple songs, right? So the next song that you're bringing in for a song that might be playing to everyone, that's going to be a technique that you can use to basically warm up and get that next song into place. And we'll show some examples a little bit later to pull it all together, but trust me, work on that technique and that will definitely help. So the next part to this, to pick up from last week, is the crossfader. We had a little discussion about this, and so the crossfader, to keep it simple, is when I move it to the right, it's going to allow me to hear what's playing on the right side. And then on the left side, it'll play what's on the left side. Okay? Right now, I just want that in the middle. But here's what's going to happen. So first off, let's go back to the jog wheel. Let's go back to our main song. So you should see Serato light up on the screen, and I'm pressing that hot cue on my controller, or clicking the red square in the upper left. You may not see my mouse, but you can see me sort of pressing it. Get that sound right there. I'm jumping between a couple of windows, so bear with me here. Okay, now I'm back to the controller. So now what I want you to do is we're going to learn to release it. So after the 4, consider it at number 5, we're going to let go. So it's going to go something like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, you would stop it. And 7, 8 would be bringing it back. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's just talk about that 5, 6 real quick. When we let go, you have to lift up off the jog wheel. So I'm literally lifting my hand up. And as I bring it back down, it stops it. Let me show you what it visually looks like in the software as I do it at the same time. Okay, so see how that sound goes ahead of that white line, the tail end of the sound, and then I'm rewinding it back to the beginning. So let's go back to the controller view. 1, 2, 3, 4, lift and let it go, and then stop it, and then rewind it. Now what might happen when you rewind it is you might find that your hand is down at the bottom. Right? So like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You try to rewind it, and you're down at the bottom, and the optimal location is around 9 o'clock. So I think what I showed you last Wednesday was kind of move your hand to the 12 o'clock position after you let go. 1, 2, 3, 4. On 5, we're going to lift, and then 6, I'm going to go to 12 o'clock. So we're going to let go, 6, right, 7, 8. 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, and you see how my hand jumps up to 12 o'clock after I let go? I let go and I just move it to 12. See how I went up to the top, pull back. Part of it too is letting that sound breathe a little bit, because you could go too fast, you know, and that sound kind of gets shortened up. But if I let it breathe a little bit, See that? That then bring back, and there you go. All right. So for the students that are taking a peek at the feed, work on that. Try that a couple times. Give me a couple thumbs up, couple likes that you're understanding what's going on. Any comments, any questions? We're going to make it a lot more interesting here in a second. Let me give you guys a track. Let's see if that will help us with the rhythm a little bit. Okay. Let's loop this. Okay. So let me, so I loaded up the 90 BPM beat track, again, which is in the lesson files that you can download from the website, werethespinproject, and I just dragged that up into the upper right. Let me go back to the screen view. So since I have the controller, I'm actually going to use the controller, but I want you to see how it moves inside of the software. So right now I'm using the browse button, or the browse knob, going down to the 90 BPM, and then you may have load buttons on your controller which are pointing to the right and left. I would click to the right, which brings that song in. Sometimes you can also, the little scrolling knob that you may have that allows you to go through that library, you can also press it sometimes. So in other words, when I go down to my song, let me show you through OBS. Okay, as you see me go through, you'll see it move, right? And then you can sometimes press it and it'll load. I'm going to go with to the right. And then we talked about the loop, so I'm going to just put an 8-bar loop. It's set right at the beginning. I just don't want to go over everything we did last week, but just make sure you use your hotkeys, which you would have learned about last week. The hotkeys are the plus signs that are within those songs, are those boxes with the plus signs. You click that, leaves the marker within the song. If you need more info on that, go back to the last video. Now that we engage the loop, we can play it. And let's show you from the controller. All right. So here's that hotkey that we had in the software. Just starting the song over. Cool. I was asked, how do I make beats? Last session. Sometimes as DJs we can create our beats right here on the controller. And that was a simple version. Just have fun with it. Use the markers, the hotkeys, and place them at different sounds in your song, and you can create on the fly. All right, so back to that 1, 2, 3, 4 release. Here we go. Working so far for you guys. Cool. Got a couple thumbs up. If you want to try it on the right side too, and try to practice with your right hand, so that would be something that, it's entirely up to you if you want to spend that time doing it. But we'll stay on the left for now, but I will show you an example of it on the right just so you can see the steps of how I load up all the songs again. But practice that. Hopefully that makes sense. Now, for some of the students that might be looking for a little more of a challenge, instead of doing the quarter notes those 4 quarter notes, we can do eighth notes. Check it out. It's gonna go a little faster. And 2 and 3 and 4 and ah. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5, 6, 7, 8. So for a couple of the students who've been doing this for a little while, practice the eighth notes. And then the release. For my newer students and beginners, work on those quarters. It's all about slow, not speed. I'm going to do it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. Now there's more to this. It's going to get real exciting in a minute. But we got to kind of get these fundamentals down. As I always say, you got to crawl before we can walk. And some of my students, Alex can contest that I would always kind of push on the rudimentary stuff. And I know sometimes it's not always our favorite, but hopefully he sees the progress and that it's paying off for him. If you can contest to that, Alex, you can let him know I'm a tough instructor. It's okay. All right. So again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Then for my students that have been around for a little while, if you want to challenge yourself, we're going to go eighth notes. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and back. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and back. And then if there's anybody that really wants to have fun with it, you can go faster. Those are sixteenths. So I don't recommend those for beginners. You need to start with those quarter notes first and learn that whole release and bringing it back. And you want to be able to do that cleanly. That's going to be all the difference. So that should be something you practice every day or whenever you got time. Okay, let's add the really fun part to this. I'm going to kill the music. So as we may have noticed, when we let go, when we stop, there's this return it back to the top, right? I have to spin it back. Well, that noise on the way back is a little disruptive, and I'd like to disguise it and kind of hide it. So the way we do that is with the use of this crossfader. So now you're going to figure out what this thing kind of really does. Obviously, right now, what I would like is to leave it right here for a minute, because I want you to be able to hear the sound. But let me demonstrate what happens when I actually use the crossfader. I'm going to put the mic down for a minute so I can use both hands. All right, I got a microphone mount. I just, sometimes I kind of go away from it and then it sounds not so great. All right, here we go. So, 9 o'clock. I'm at the top of my sound, again, just to make sure everyone sees the same thing. You should see your sound right at the tip. First hot cue, and that ah sound from the lesson file. If you got your own file, your own ah sound, that's cool too. Okay, press play. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I stop, but before I pull this thing back, I'm going to actually close the crossfader. Why am I closing it? Because if it's all the way to the right, the only sound that it can produce is if something was playing on this side. And in this case, nothing is playing. But on the left side, I still have the jog wheel, and I'm holding at 12. So if I go back now, you don't hear that sound. Stop and close it, and then return your hand, and then you should be right around the beginning of the sound. So, and then I got to pop it back open. All right, so let's go slow. 1, 6, 7, we would close it. 8 is come back, and we make sure we have it ready and open for the next one. So check it out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8. Right? So it's really this is like some poly movement, right? Or some like, you know, tap your head and rub your belly at the same time. You got to do two things here kind of at the same time. So it's not easy. So you got to take it slow. So I am going to take it slow right now. So any new folks that are out there, if you have any questions, any students, anybody else, let me know. Okay. All right. Here we go. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, close at 7, bring it back at 8, and then get yourself prepared for the next one. And then pop it open. Okay. So if we do this with a beat, stop, cut it out, bring it to the top, and then prepare to do it again. Don't worry about trying to do multiples at the same time or going too fast. Just go one at a time, really slow. And I'm even going to slow the beat down, because I mean, the slower the better. And in fact, try it without music first. Make sure you kind of get the technique down. All right, so. Just try that. Try that. Stop. Pause. Get yourself prepared again. Close. Open it. We're ready for the next one. Let's try it again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 is close. 8 is bring back and open back up again. So that's that, having to do two things at the same time. All right, any questions out there? Let me run the track, so in case you want to do it with my track, if you're playing it at home. If you're trying it, was it hard? Is it hard? Give me some feedback. Let me know. I mean, after a while, you'll get it from practicing, no doubt, but it takes a little bit of work. Just kind of getting both of those hands to do different things at the same time. All right, if you're just jumping in, I know we got a couple of viewers. If you're a student or someone at home, drop me a name. Let me know where you're at, where you're calling from, where you're dialing in from. What has everybody been doing during this downtime? And I'll take any answers on that. I know it's tough to keep ourselves going with school during the day and then trying to keep up with activities afterwards. For some of the parents that are home, I know that's probably challenging as well. We do a lot of reading, a lot of puzzles here too, and we play games, so We figure it out. A lot of Yu-Gi-Oh battles going on too. All right, back to the DJing. So any questions on that? Anybody have any problems? All right, I'm going to do it again. So for anybody who just jumped in, who might have got here late, we're picking up from last week's lesson. Last week we learned about this first 4-beat technique. So let's do it again. 1, 2, 3, 4. The files that I'm using are some files that I offered online, free to anybody that wants to download and use them as part of what we're doing. werethespinproject.com. You can find that download there. So again, just showing you how loading up the song, taking that scratch starter file, dropping it over to the left. We made a marker last week, so if you use a controller, you can hit that first red button on the left side. So that's this guy, to get right to the sound that we set up. And then for the other folks that might be using the software, you can hit the number 1 on your keyboard or use your mouse. If you hit the number 1 on your keyboard, it'll also get you to that same cue point. Or you can put your mouse all the way onto the red square on the software and press play. Right? But we're using the controller, so let's flip back. All right. So we were learning last week. Starting out with 4. 2, 3, 4. So I'm listening to the song. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, let's do it with the jog wheel. 1 is going to be forward, 2 is back, 3 is forward, and 4 is back. So, right. Okay, and then today we picked up on a couple more movements here with the release and returning it. So I'm going to do it without the crossfader. No crossfader at the moment. Check it out. All right, release it, catch it, bring it back. So we talked about on 5 after we release it. Let's move our hand from after lifting up and moving it into the 12 o'clock position so we can catch it after we release it. So it'll look like this. So you kind of see I started 9 o'clock. I jumped up to stop the record and the jog wheel, and when I returned it, it put me right back at the beginning of the sound. And my hand was pretty much where it needs to be, 9 o'clock. Okay, so for some of the other students to challenge themselves who might have been with me for a little while, we can speed that up. 2 and 3 and 4 and... quarters. 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, and then the last part was the crossfader. So if you missed this, here it goes again. We're going to stop the beat for a second so we can do this on our own pace. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is lift. 6 is jump up to 12. 7 is basically close. 8 is return and opening our fader back up and preparing for doing it again. But we don't want to rush looping them just yet. Something else to point out with opening and closing your crossfader. Because it goes this far to the left, does not require you to have to go all the way to the left to come back. Efficiency. So since our movement is small right now and quick, we can just keep it within the first half if you can. Sometimes we get excited when we're first working with the controller and we just really flip this thing around. So it'll be open, right? I keep it like within almost half of the half. So that would be the fourth quarter, if you will. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then pop right there. Okay, see if you can do that too. A lot of things, and you thought DJing was easy. Not only do we have to worry about where our hand is, we have to tell your mind to jump over to 12 o'clock so that you can get that record back, but yet at the same time, you're figuring out how to use the crossfader and determining the distance of how far it's opening and closing. So it's not going to be perfect at first, as it shouldn't, right? This is part of the fun part, is we learn how to do the technique and then just get more fluid and have more fun with it. So how's everybody doing out there? Okay, let's play the track. And let's go over it again with the crossfader. 5, 6, 7, 8, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now don't worry if you can't do them back to back or consecutive. That's okay. You'll get there. Just at least reset yourself and prepare for the beginning of the measure. Now with the crossfader. Those are 8 notes. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and now. If you want to challenge yourself at that 16 time, it's up to you. But if you're just starting, it's best for you to start at the quarters. All right, let's check in with some of the folks at home, any of the students. Thumbs up on this technique. You guys getting it? All right. So I think for the next couple of minutes, we're going to put all of this into some examples now of how, oh, we got some thumbs up. Good. It's working. Excellent. Okay. I'm going to put some context now to this technique just so we can understand, well, why are we doing this? Didn't want to be a scratch DJ. I want to learn how to mix and play music. Yes, all of this will come together and make sense. So, as far as how does this particular technique actually work as we DJ? Well, for one, the easiest is scratching, right? So really, as long as I sort of learn my timings and I can be creative and have fun with this any which way I want, but try to use the timing and the measurements to stay sounding like you're flowing with the music. So you know the quarters. I'm technically doing 1, 2, 3, 4, just in different styles, different timings, different cadences. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's quarters, right? But this still doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? I'm still doing that. 1, 2, 3, 4, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So that can just turn into some basic scratching at any point in your DJ set. So you can just kind of have like a little swing, a little funkiness to it, and the more you kind of play with it, you can have fun. You can have fun doing the scratching. Now, obviously, that will all turn into other things later. So all this hand movement of back and forth that we're learning is just going to be implemented into even the more advanced stuff later. Now, how about mixing? That was the big question I got from the last stream. Was we really want to see the mixing of some songs because we want to really learn how to DJ and do the songs. Well, I agree. We definitely should do that. But I always like to make sure we learn the basics, right? And we kind of understand certain things before we just jump all the way into a beat. So here's what we're going to do. Just to give you an idea. Let me jump over to Serato. So you should see the Serato screen. You're going to see a couple things happen. Try not to be too worried about that at the moment. All right, now this is one of those examples that's really hard to show because one, I have my headphones on, but the thing is you guys can't really see how that headphone thing is playing a part into what's going on. So DJs have headphones, right? And so as we're DJing, in this case, the headphone jack is here, and we would put that headphone jack right into here. And I had it plugged into the audio mixer so that I could hear the recording. But I just want you to see where I plug that into. I'll get into how it's actually used on the controller later, but I just wanted you to see where the connection was for it. Okay, so this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to put the controller back up, and then you can see what I do, and I'll ask some questions afterwards or get some feedback from you guys. You be observant of what I'm doing. There's a lot of different things that might be happening, and I'm going to do it with the controller view. Okay, here we go. So you saw me do a bunch of moves here. Now let's see what happens when I actually execute this. So, there was a lot of stuff going on there. Let me ask, what did we see? See if anybody picked up on something. So, first off, I hope that we noticed the hand movement that we just practiced for the last 40 minutes, that I was using it. You saw me go 1, 2, 3, 4, release, probably on a couple different times. Let me go back. So what was happening is I'm going to open this channel fader up all the way. As you saw when I mixed it, had brought it up slowly and brought the other one down. And I'll go over those details in a second, but for the sake of education, I'm going to open this up. This is what I'm hearing in my headphones. Let's think that this is down, but this is what I'm hearing in my headphone. So I was going. Let's try that again. 1, 2, 3, 4, release. Now pretend you're in your headphones with me. I already knew there was something wrong with the song. We'll go over how to actually beat match on the next session a little more formally, but what I was doing was listening and realizing that my song was not on the correct tempo to be mixed with the song that's playing on the right. So I had to beat match that. I had to use the 1, 2, 3, 4 release in order to start this whole thing, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, and release. And I'm trying to match it to the other track, but I still realized that my song is way too slow. So I was making an adjustment there, right? I'm gonna do it again. So then, that's what we heard in the headphones, right? So I reset myself. This fader's down. We can't hear anything when this is down. When this one's up. I have the crossfader in the middle. And we did this. Check it out. Okay, so before I opened the channel fader, you saw the 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So there you go. That 1, 2, 3, 4 is part of releasing the song that's going to be coming in. And there's lots of different ways you can do that, but that's just a very basic way, a beginner style of mixing it. And then you're going to see me adjust the crossfader, the channel faders. So check it out. 3, 4, and release. 2, and 3, and 4, and 5, and 6, and 7, and 8, 2, 3, 4. So that was a 8-bar, 8-measure mix. Okay. Sometimes doing these things online makes sense, and then sometimes it'd be really cool if you were here present. It would make a lot more. It might come together even better. But how are we doing out there? Did we get that? Do we understand why we are working on the basic technique so that we can build on not only the ability to do some scratching, but also the ability to be learning the beginning steps of mixing your music? Okay, so for anybody who's joined in, any students, anybody that is interested in what's been going on, this is week 2 of DJing online with Kevin, DJ K.Sity. So I appreciate everybody that's been dialing in and following, and the students at home. I feel for you. Parents at home, I feel for you. Everybody who is stuck at home, I feel for you. I'm going through a lot of the same stuff, but this allows me to bring some kind of normal activity for me. I went from always being out and on the hustle and teaching and DJing to literally sitting in my home. It's insane. And anyone who knows me knows that I cannot really stay sitting too long. But thank you for giving me the opportunity to share some of this with the other students and the kids out there that want to figure out how to DJ. I think this is exactly something that they need. They need to understand that music is an option for them. And I want to be a huge advocate of that. I know right now our times are tough, and music is probably the last thing that, entertainment is the last thing a lot of people think about. But they're young, and they can learn. And when everything gets back to normal, they'll have the skill and they'll be able to use it, and even beforehand. So anyway, for those that are jumping in, for those that have been here, give me a holler. Did you get the whole, maybe a couple thumbs, a heart, a smile, a laugh, a cry, a sad, maybe a cry because it's not as easy as it seems? All right. So I'm going to do it again. Okay, cool. I got a couple of, there we go. I appreciate you all. Thank you. Hey, a little bit of laughter always goes a long way. All right, so I'll go through the 1, 2, 3, 4 release again, and then I'll open it up to any final questions. I think that's, generally in the scheme of things, we would take a break after that. That's a lot to kind of figure out, but that's what I want you to practice. So now that this video will be available afterwards, you can always go back and replay it if you need to go back and see those instructions. So awesome. I'll do it one last time though. Give me just a sec. Okay, that's a cool little beat. I like that. So if you were with me last week, just to have a little fun, inject a little bit more fun here in the DJing, I'm going to show you the effects. We went over it like almost 2 weeks ago maybe, or like, I don't know, time flies. So you should see Serato Lite. As I've mentioned to other students and other people coming in, I'm using DJ Lite because it's free, and I want anybody out there who's dialing in to be able to do this, man, like right away. Like as much as I'd love for you to have DJ Pro and have all the greatest gear in the world, I just think let's just keep it basic and like get it started and figure it out. All right, so I'm in the software. You can see the track on the right is playing. I'm all the way at the very top. I know that you might not be able to see my mouse yet. Still trying to work on that, but all the way at the very top of the software, Serato DJ Lite, you're going to go to the left, and you're going to see like a little horn icon and the FX letters FX. Click on that FX. So I'm going to hit it a couple times as it toggles so you can see it on the screen. You should see that pop on and off. You see it popping on and off? Is, but if it is, you should see the effects here down at the bottom or in the middle of the screen. And then so we've got an echo, a reverb, and a phaser here. There's these buttons to turn them on and off. Okay, so for any students that might be following with just software, I can turn it on by activating the on button. So I'm in the FX2 area, so midway through the screen to your right, you should see the on and off, popping on and off for the echo. Now there's a little knob to the right of it. Right now, if you're using your keyboard, unless you have MIDI mapped, which we're not going to get into right now, the way I do it is I literally put my mouse right in the middle of the circle. I click and hold, and I'll go up with the mouse, and it will turn that knob and bring the white. You'll see the white starting to come in. That's how much of the effect we want to apply. So by going 100%, it's pretty echoey. It's off. Okay, I'm going to go over to the reverb. I'm turning the reverb on. I'm going to do the same thing. Heard the difference? Okay, so now I'm going to jump over to the controller so we can see it on the controller. So I'm up in the top area up here, FX2, that's where the song is playing. You can see that there's a little LED here that tells us the signal, so we know this is what's playing. Up in the top, I'm going to press the second one, and I'm going to turn the knob. So this knob represents what we just saw in the software. Right. Okay, let's try the first one, that was the echo. Pretty cool. And the last one, I think, was the phaser. Cool. A little bit of fun for the students and everybody who are just needing that little cool part. So let's go back to getting that scratch sound loaded back up. So just going back to your scratch sound, we'll review real fast. And we're going to take questions. So, all right. So I've got my ah sound back. And on the right, I've got a track playing. So we learned a 1 through 8 step. And it went something like this. Quarter notes I'm going to start with. So 16ths. Back to quarters. So without the sound, just for beginners and my newer friends. 1 forward, 2 back, 3 forward, 4 back, 5 we let go, 6 we stop, and notice my hand position after we let go. That's 6. 7 is close, and then 7 and the rest of 8 is to get back to your normal spot. Now, for some, this is actually a really important thing to point out. With some of the lower entry controllers, there's no indicator on your controller as far as where that sound is beginning, where that hot cue really is. There's no visual. You almost are sort of reliant on either one, your ear, and being really good at knowing how far you let go of this jog wheel. And that takes experience. And even for me, having done this for a long time, it's hard for me to do that without that sight, right? Like even on my records or whatever, I always have some sort of reference on my equipment because I don't like to look at the screen for that purpose. But you may find yourself having to kind of look at the screen. So when you let go, going back, I want to be able to actually see the preciseness of that. So like I may find myself falling back to the software. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So right now I'm assuming I'm at, 12 o'clock. I stopped the record and I'm going back, but I may go too far. I may not stop enough. And so we might have to look at that software to be able to see it. Now, some other controllers that are out there and turntables solutions and CDJ solutions and like some of the other technology that's out there will provide you a cue that you would be able to reference on your jog wheel. So, Alex, I know you've got the SRT, so you have that. A lot of other models have that as well, and then any of my like turntable. If anyone's using a turntable for their solution, your Serato records, your digital vinyl records, DVS records would have the Serato logo, and I usually reference those as my marker. So just to kind of show you all the different examples. But yeah, so sometimes that can be tricky with an entry level. If you can, get a unit that allows you to see it, it's definitely, I think, I'm not the one who's spending the money, so I'm not going to act like it's a must-have. But I definitely think, if the student gets to a point where they're really into it or you're into it, then you may want to look at expanding the gear at some point down the road. So just one of those little tip things to go over, because that's sometimes the things that you might miss or they won't explain to you on the online videos and all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to try to give you all the little tidbits. Okay, we are going to, I think we're coming up on the hour. Any questions? Any feedback? Any thoughts? Really love to hear from everybody. For any students that are out there and newcomers to DJing, some other good advice is, there's a lot of resources out there. Obviously, you can, use myself as a reference and use any of the material that I can offer you, and any help that I can give you, I will. But I'm not going to be naive and not say that there's so much out there. Just be careful overwhelming yourself with what is out there. I think it was really tough for me to see so many resources and being just bombarded by all the YouTube videos, and like thinking I needed to watch every video and that I wanted to do everything that were on those videos in like a week. And it's just, I just really want to discourage that kind of thought. Like, the basics that I'm showing you, if you get really good at them, all that other stuff is going to happen, and it'll just be easier to get there. That's one thing that I can definitely shed some light on, is that when you move too fast in the beginning and you try to do way too much in the beginning, it does hurt, and I've felt it and I've experienced it. Just coming up, I just was scattered all over trying to do a lot of things. So my point is get those basics, get that stuff down, and we'll get you on the right track. But just be cautious with what you do see out there. If you ever have a question about a video or something, you can email me, DJ K.Sity at Gmail. That's K.Sity with an S, as in Sierra. DJ K.Sity at gmail.com. I'd be more than happy to answer any questions about any resources that you might be looking into. I know there's books, there's all kinds of stuff. I looked at them all too, so follow other DJs, watch other DJs. There are so many DJs playing their mixes live right now on the internet through Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, all kinds of different places. I time to time will jump on as well, and got some stuff planned coming up, so stay tuned on that. It's going to be fun. But watch the DJs and listen to how they play music. Listen to the songs. Listen to how they go from one song to another, and pay attention. Like, sometimes it's so clean and so seamless you don't even hear it and see it. So make sure to take advantage of those DJs that are online playing, and really, use that time as an experience to see what they're doing and what they're learning. You can also see the kind of gear they're using. Again, this isn't to try to upsell or have you go out and spend thousands of dollars. I don't think that's what we're trying to do here. Learn basics, enjoy what we're doing, and then see what you could do later with it, and grow from it. So anyway, those are some additional little tidbits from your boy K.Sity. That'll be it for today. We're gonna wrap up, but we always wrap up with a little fun and a little freestyle scratching at the end to just keep the inspiration going. I appreciate everybody that stopped in. I really do. It means a ton. And for the students and the kids, I hope you're getting something out of it. Let me know if you got any questions about practicing or about the gear, or you're having problems setting things up. Like, for real, like, give me a shout out. Like, hit me up on the email, djksity at gmail.com. I will help you. I know the technical side of it can be tricky and troubleshooting, and, well, I'm not going to try to say this, but I can kind of troubleshoot some things. A little bit. I can help you out. So take advantage of it if you need some help. But I'm gonna have some fun. Everybody have a great rest of your Monday. Thanks for hanging out, and I will see you all on Wednesday, 4:30, same time. We'll do a little bit of this, but I think we're gonna also start talking a little bit about some basic scratching too. All right, guys, peace out. Have a good one. See you on Wednesday.